Spoštovane in spoštovani, prisrčno pozdravljeni vsi skupaj. Mislim, da je prav, da še enkrat zaploskamo naši dragi gosti, gospe Sunite Williams. Mi smo izredno počaščeni, da nas je gospa Williams obiskala že drugič. Posebej pozdrav tudi njeni mami, tu nekje blizu. Prisrčno dobrodošlice, evo mama tam vzadnje, da se vidi od njega. Na nadaljevanju boste imeli priložnost tudi prijetni gospe pobliže spoznati in izvedeti marsikaj zanimivega iz njunega poklicnega in osebnega življenja. Danes je zato več kot odlična priložnost. Vem, da imate pripravljena vprašanja, gospe pa vam bodo z veseljem odgovarjali. Tako, jaz upam, da bo ta čas, ki nam je namenjen, potekal v lepem in prijetnem vzdušju in da nam bo vsem skupaj ostal dolgo v trajnem in lepem skupaj. Hvala lepa toliko za ovo. Hvala.
Najlepša hvala. Ja, mislim. So, dear Sunite, we are really happy to welcome you here. First of all, in our small town Vitanja, and of course also in the Cultural Center of European Space Technologies. Do not be too confused. Here is 40 children. They're all going to primary school. They're here from all over Slovenia, and they prepared something for you. We will have you here for 1 hour. We'd like to ask you some questions. And then we also have some challenges for you, if you are prepared to make them. Yeah? We'll just give you one microphone. So you will be able to talk. Perfect. Ready? First questions. Okay? Okay. Yeah, ready to that. Okay. So, first I will just ask you if you could maybe introduce yourself. And also, of course, how did you become an astronaut? Why?
Hello, everybody. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you to the mayor for inviting us to Vitanja, and thank you to everybody here who has been part of this amazing place. It's just incredible. I was here just a couple years ago, and this place wasn't here, this building, so it's been quite a change in just the last couple of years, and I feel very at home in Vitanja, so thank you again for the welcome. And I think I feel very at home because of Herman Nordon Potočnik, who obviously wrote this wonderful book and was a visionary for space travel long before you and I were born. And when I was here last time, I think you guys were probably in school here and a little bit younger, a little bit shorter, and hopefully space travel has made me a little bit younger, but unfortunately I think it's made me a little older. When I was your age in high school, just thinking about what I wanted to do when I grew up, I wanted to be a veterinarian because I love animals so much. And I was looking for a college, a university to study veterinary science. But honestly, my life has been a little bit ups and downs. It's not a straight path to space, even though it seems like it's a straight path. I did not get into the universities that I applied to become a veterinarian. And so then I was looking, how would I go to school and what would I do? And how would I even pay for school? Because university is expensive. So I ended up joining the military, and that was the next section of my life. I was trying to be a diver, military diver. But because I liked swimming, because I was a swimmer, but I was not the smartest person in the class. I was somewhere in the middle, and I didn't get that opportunity. So I thought, well, maybe what's something else I could do? And an influential movie came out at the time, the arts, Top Gun. I'm not sure if it's an artistic movie, but it showed how to fly, and I thought this could be really fun. And so I chose aviation and went to fly jets because I wanted to be a jet pilot. That didn't work out either. I didn't get jets, I got helicopters. And so you can see there's one thing after another that I thought I wanted to do, but I didn't get to do. But flying helicopters, I really started to think about, I think, the part in us that starts to come out, like, how does this work? Why is this happening? How does a helicopter work versus an airplane? And I really got interested in studying math and science to understand how we even design airplanes and helicopters. That got me into test pilot school, and that was the very first time that I met anybody who happened to know anything about being an astronaut. And we had the opportunity to meet some astronauts who had been to the moon. One of them had been there twice even, and he told us that he had to learn how to fly a helicopter-like aircraft to land on the moon. And I thought, wow, I already have those skills. He had to learn them, and I already had them, so maybe I could be an astronaut. And that was the first time I thought about it and looked into it, and then met more and more people who are pretty adventurous, and they're pretty athletic, and they like understanding new concepts and ideas. And I thought, oh, this is a good group. So I tried out a couple times, not the first time, but the second time I got into the space program. So a long, not so straight story to get to the opportunity to fly in space. And then this last, since I've been there, I've flown in space twice. Once on a space shuttle that dropped me off to the space station and left us there and went home. There was 3 of us up there living, and we worked on the construction of the space station. And then this last time was just this last year, last July, just almost a year ago, until November. And that time I went on a Russian Soyuz rocket capsule that's on top of that rocket. It's also called Soyuz, which docked to the space station. So it's been a lot of fun. This last time has been a little bit of science, more so science than construction.
Yeah, we watched your movie when you were there for the last time, going up at like Superman.
And a little bit of playing on the space station.
But I have a really important question now. Vi to vse razumete, ne, da čeprav govorimo mi slovensko, angliško pa... A to ne razumemo, če ne dvigne roko. Wow, bravo. You don't need translation. Everybody understands it. Ampak super, ker je to tako, zato ker je to tudi prav, da govorimo čim več jezikov, ne samo 2, čim več jezikov. Sorry, but ask if somebody don't understand, but everybody understands. Marusha is holding, sorry.
Thank you very much. And now, I think that we would like to also ask your mom something. I can speak in Slovenian with your mom. No? English also? Okay. We were just wondering how was Sunite when she was young. She told us now that she wanted to be vegetarian, so we already know that, but how was she? Was she really loud? Was she crying a lot?
Oh no, she was very athletic. She swam every day in the morning at 5 before she went to school and again in the evening. She was on a competitive swim team and swam all the way through college, was the captain of her team. Played soccer, played piano, was a very good student, studied hard, and very fun. We had a lot of fun with her growing up. She was a very happy child and very enthusiastic and very sunny. That's why we call her Sunny. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And now I will just go a bit around. Each group has prepared one question, so they will ask you. First, here is a little guy, Jakob.
Hello, and my question is, what were your emotions first time and the second time you went on ISS?
Okay, so first time is the first time. So I think the first time we do anything, it might be a little bit scary. It's the unknown. So of course, we are going out to the rocket to go launch, and I had never really dreamed that I would. I mean, I dreamed that I would go, but I never really thought it would be a reality. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you think, oh, that would be really cool, but I'll never do that. And I still, even though we were in our spacesuits and we were walking out to the rocket, thought, this won't happen. And it happened to be a beautiful night. It was that night. We walked out there and we got into the spacecraft and we were waiting for our time, and it didn't happen. We didn't go because the weather downrange, when the rocket takes off, the weather downrange wasn't good. So we came back, got out. And then 2 days later, we walked out to the rocket, and it's pouring rain on us. And I thought, for sure we're not going to go. And we get in and we go through the countdown, and then all of a sudden everything starts to happen because the weather cleared up. And we really were going, and it was amazing because there was 3 people on the mid-deck of the space shuttle with me, 2 other people. One, Christer Fuglesang from Sweden, and another lady, Joni Higginbottom. And we don't have a lot of controls on the mid-deck. The guys on the flight deck have the controls. And we just all started laughing because none of us had flown before. We were brand new. And we were like, oh my God, the engines are going. The whole rocket is starting to move. Because it happens like 5 minutes beforehand. First part of the rocket starts. And then 6 seconds happens when the main engines light. And then right at liftoff, the solid rocket boosters light. And so each of these things kept happening, and we were just cracking up. We were laughing because it's like being on a roller coaster. It's like, it's really going to happen, it's really going to happen. And then it's only about 7.5 or 8 minutes to space, and we were really laughing the whole time. I think it's a little bit nervous, but that's why we were laughing and cheering. And then couldn't believe it when the engine stopped. Everything got quiet, and then everything starts to float. I mean, even your arms start to float. It's like, oh my God, this is so weird. And you have to hold your arms down by your brain thinking about it. And after that, you just get used to having your arms down. But if you didn't, if you see somebody sleep, when they're sleeping in space, their arms will be floating like this because you can't control it. It just is how it is up in space. Everything floats. So it was absolutely fun. I was very clumsy. A typical thing when you get to space, you push off the wall, and just like when you throw a ball here on Earth, you throw with an arc because you're throwing against gravity, and you don't even know. Your brain doesn't even have to think about that. It's unconscious. So in space, when you push off, you automatically push off up, and usually everybody hits their head on the ceiling. And you do this maybe 2 or 3 times, and then you learn not to do that anymore. But so everybody's a little bit clumsy and flying around, knocking things off the wall, because usually things are Velcro. The second time, I sort of knew a lot of these things that were going to happen. And on the Soyuz, there's only 3 of us in the Soyuz, and 2 of us have controls right in front of us. I had controls, so I was a little more concentrating on what I was going to do. But I knew there was going to be another 3 people on board also. I think that was what was really fun. It was not only just 3 people constructing, it was going to be 6 people living in space together. So I was really excited. I knew what it was going to be like, but I was really excited to have a whole family of people. And so the second time was nicer because it felt like a family around the dinner table. When we got up there, we could have really nice conversations and look out the window and share some really great ideas. So a little bit different impressions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then here we have a student called Luca. Here you go.
Do you think that we could improve Potočnik's will and how?
Say one more time.
Do you think that we could improve Potočnik's will and how?
This is a tough question for me. How to answer this? We have a lot to learn about in space travel. People think that the ideas of these visionaries have already been entirely created. Not necessarily. We are just getting people into space and being able to live in space with actually a very advanced engineering but rudimentary idea space station. So I think we actually even have even farther to go to obtain all of his ideas. And I don't even think we're all the way there quite yet.
Thank you very much. Okay, so on this side we have Jure. This one is quite interesting.
Can you tell us anything about Area 51?
No. Honestly, we don't do too much with any of those type of programs. But a lot of people ask if there's aliens, if we see aliens. And you know, we're not flying that far away from the Earth. You know, our altitude is only somewhere up to 400 kilometers away from Earth. It's not that far. I mean, think about how far 400 kilometers across Slovenia. It's not all that far. How long is Slovenia? So maybe twice. I was thinking, wait a minute, Slovenia's sort of small. So maybe, you know, twice back and forth from Slovenia. And that's it. That's how far we are above our planet, which means, you know, the relative size of our planet is pretty big, and we're pretty close in our orbit around. However, you know, under that tiny little layer that we are, you know, we're above that tiny little layer of atmosphere. It's such a tiny, small layer in comparison to the size of the Earth that's protecting us and keeping us here. But even just right there, you can see clearly how many stars there are out in the universe. You know, you can't see all the stars here on Earth because we have this universe. It's like wearing a pair of, or like looking underwater, because we have all this humidity in the air, of course, all the water in the atmosphere. And so it's like when you're looking underwater, you can't see very clearly. That's what the universe looks to us here on Earth. But when you're outside of that atmosphere, then it's like putting on goggles, and then you can see crystal clear because there's nothing, there's no water that's in the air to change your vision. So, my point with all that is you can see millions and millions and millions of stars. I mean, they go on forever. And what's cool about the darkness of space, if you're in a planetarium, it just looks like it's a plane, it's flat, it's a curve, but all the stars are just on that curve. In space, you can see that they're 3D, they go on and they go on. You can see your human eyes can tell one star is a little bit closer than another. And you can really get the feeling that space is three-dimensional. And I think some people have met or talked to Yuri Malenchenko. I flew with him up in space, and he's flown 5 times, so he has a lot of experience. And he called me to the window one day. He said, "Sonny, look out the window here." I said, "What?" He goes, "See that area there? It's really black. There's no stars." How weird is that? Why is there no stars there? And he goes, "I think that's like where there might be like a black hole or something, because nothing can just be sustained right there." That's wild. So there is lots of stars out there, which means there's probably, like our sun, other planets rotating around some of those stars out there. Millions of stars probably mean more than millions of planets. And so there's got to be a planet out there that has some formation of something that's living out there. We're just too close to our planet to really investigate what's going on with those things that maybe are in Area 51 that I don't know about.
Thank you. Okay, there we have Žiga.
Could you name 5 world-known Slovenian?
Oh, so these are my quizzes, I see.
These are not challenged yet.
Okay, so of course Potočnik, how about that? And I'll put my name in that category, how about that? How about Dragon's name in that category? Yeah, let's see, there's a couple other astronauts, so it's not just my name, it's also, I've put in that category Ron Sega and Jerry Ledger, so that's one astronaut, Potočnik, Dragon. I met this week some pretty amazing people who I think are world-known. Ivo from Pipistrel is probably well-known, right? And probably the mayor. Yeah? Did I do good? Who else?
Yes.
Okay, and now the last question before the challenges we have for you. Vít?
Please describe your feelings and your impressions from your journey, starting with going to the space and landing back to the Earth. So, because our question is similar to the first group, please tell us more about impressions when you came back to the Earth.
Sure. Well, first of all, let me talk about a couple impressions about being in space. I talked about just the thinness of the atmosphere a little bit and really looking down at our planet and enjoying the view of the planet. I'm not sure if you guys have seen some pictures of Earth from space, but the pictures can't even describe how beautiful this planet is. You know, we drive around, we walk around, we bicycle around here like a little ant, on this planet, very, very busy. But from space, you could see that this planet is so calm, it's so beautiful, it's so peaceful. It's blue, it's green, it's purple, it's brown, it's yellow. You could see all of these colors in all of the natural features of this planet. It is just a spectacular place. Also, being in space on my first spacewalk, we actually were outside waiting for the people in mission control to decide some activities that we were going to do. So we had a little time to just hang out in space. And while we were out there, we had flown over the northern part of the Earth, near Canada, where the northern lights are very active. And you could see below you the northern lights hitting the planet, and it was moving. And I held on a little bit tighter. I was like, oh my God, what's that? Why is that